This was at the DreadX show last week, and as a trailer goes, I was, okay, whatever. It's kind of, out of all the trailers they showed, there was nothing about this one. It's called Sorry We're Closed that made me say, that's the one I really want to play. You tell me if you feel the same. Here's a little bit of the trailer. I'm turning the music down because I think there's licensed stuff. But, I looked at this and I was just like, okay, whatever. It's nothing was wrong with it, but it just sort of felt like somebody wants to make a Resident Evil game, right? With a interesting art style or something. Like, there was nothing about this that was compelling to me other than like, yeah, it's kind of cool. I'll look at it. And I did look at it, and I'm glad I did. And maybe this is more of an issue of trailers. Maybe it's an issue of people thinking, well, if I have a demo out there, it'll be enough. But the trailer really does fail to communicate what I think is a pretty cool game, and a game that I probably will purchase. Let me show you some of the gameplay for this title, Sorry We're Closed. So I don't want to oversell it. I'm not saying this is the greatest horror demo of all time, but what I found when I played this was it was just interesting. It clearly, I've been, lately when I've been talking about video games, I've been overusing the phrase, but it's just so perfect. A Mind at Work from Hamilton and The West Wing. The idea that you play a game like this, and I'm not even going to load it. I'm going to go back to the beginning. You play a game like this, and there's clearly a mentality behind it. There's a sense behind it of someone with, I don't even mean something to say like they've got an important statement, but there's a soul here, and that's really, really appealing. So let me just show you some of the cool things. Really good controls for this kind of game. It opens, she's this woman living in this apartment. I'm not going to go through all the stuff. One of the mailboxes is full. This guy's kind of a dick to this girl, blah, blah, blah. So she's going to go up to her room, right? And one of the first things that I think, and I'm not going to talk to all the characters. They all have their own personalities. That's a big part of it. But for what I want to show you, it's kind of irrelevant. One of the things that's interesting is at any point you can go into first person, which will become meaningful in a couple of moments. But so you've got a cinematic camera, but you can also at any point say, I'd like to sort of, go to the balcony and look over it and kind of see what's going on. So that's interesting. At first, when you encounter it, you're like, why is that happening? Right? Okay. Again, all these doors have little stories and stuff. I'm not skipping them just for the sake of this conversation. So she can go, let's see, I don't know if she can go up here yet. Yeah. So this is locked. So she's going to go to her apartment. All right. So again, she can kind of come in. She's dealing with a breakup with this girl that she really likes. There's kind of some basic housekeeping stuff you can do. Like you can kind of pick up the dishes and put them in the sink. It's just kind of domestic shit. Teaches you how to do the inventory. Okay, but she's tired. Let's have her going here. I think she's got some pills. Oh, water heals her. That's what you learn. Okay. And, there's a lot more in here, like these posters and her journal. And it's definitely a game where, you learn about her and her life and all this stuff. But for the sake of this, let's go to bed. Okay. The room's tidier. Let's go to sleep. Okay. So she has this dream. She feels like she's out of her body. She can't move. It very much sounds like sleep paralysis. And she opens her eyes and she sees this kind of creepy thing at her door. Right? Nothing terrifying, but interesting. It's like, what the fuck am I looking at, right? And so it talks to you and it's kind of creepy and it's like, she's terrified of it. You don't really know what it wants, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's very weird. It's very weird. He says, I'm disappointed. I think it's a he. I'm disappointed with your repulsion. I thought you would be the one. Like, I don't even know what I'm looking at in terms of the body below the neck. Like in terms of like, what is she rubbing there? Is that a tattoo? Are those I don't know who this person is. Very, very strange human. Like Marilyn Manson, stretched out and turned up like 20 points or something. But he says, okay, I'll give you time. I'm not going to kill you. And then I think he cuts her, does something with this knife. So she wakes up You notice she now has this kind of eye, which will become meaningful in a moment. I don't know if the creature was supposed to cut that eye and make it appear on her or whatever, but she gets up, she gets out of bed, she goes back out into the hallway. I think she might still be dreaming though. So the one place we can go is up here. This door feels weird. Maybe she's still in the nightmare, and she goes into this space. So she thought she was going up to the roof, but alas, she sees this weird thing. The people look frozen in place. Am I still dreaming? And then she talks to this lady, Robin, and she's like, Robin's basically saying, because she's the friend you saw here out in the hallway, but she's like, this is my true form. You're not dreaming. You're just kind of in this other place. She says, these are tears in reality. You've kind of found your way in. She says, your real advantage is this third eye thing on your forehead. And sort of what it does is, and this is a mechanic I think is really neat, is that she can kind of see with her third eye. It's kind of like we've seen this mechanic before where you shift realities, but I've not seen it where it kind of is in a radius around the main character and you can kind of walk around and that's sort of and affect the environment with it. And that's kind of the basis of, it seems to be a lot of the puzzles and navigation. So I can go to these people, I think, and with the third eye now they come into fruition or visual and you can see their story. And this is a story of this girl, Ginny, who wanted this guy's money. And she's like, fuck you, I'll take your money and I'll kill you. So she's obviously going through some shit. And then she grabs his money and runs off. Okay. After she kills him. Robin tells you that you can witness these strong memories that get left behind. And you should follow the killer because it might help you figure out what's going on. And also, she happens to leave behind her axe that you can pick up. But now you can be in first person when you're doing combat, which is kind of cool. And so now we can come over here and get through these things. Okay. So the shifting between the two perspectives is really cool. I dig that. Having that third eye that lets you kind of see two versions of the same world and how it does puzzles. Like if you walk into these roots here, it'll damage you. But if you activate the third eye, they're not there in that world. So you can go past them and you can get a water bottle, which gives you health. But if you actually turn it off while you're in the trap, you'll start taking damage, right? So let's see, what else do we have? I don't think you can go down here. You can go down there. Let's see what's in here though. So without the third eye, it's just this safe, but with the third eye, I guess you see this luggage. I don't know if you can do anything with it. So let's go down the steps and see what's down there. So again, this is, I guess when you're running, you can't run with a third eye. The weird thing about the combat though, which you can only do in third person. I don't think there is or first person. I don't think you can attack in third person. Is that a couple of things. One is that when these guys come at you, okay, so you can activate this and see it'll pause them for a brief moment. So you'll get a little bit of a break if you want to kind of use it strategically to pause them. And then you'll see that heart when they're in your third eye. If you damage the heart, and it's easier with a gun, you do more damage. But I don't have a gun right now, so I'll show you this with the first person. Okay, well, I got him that time. The thing that's a little challenging, and I guess it's part of it, but I don't know if I love it, is when you go into combat, right? And let's say the rat is coming right at your feet. So you go into combat, and you swing, and then when you come back out because you need to back up real quick because they're attacking you, and then you go back into combat, you have to kind of reacquire. So you kind of have to remember if they're at your feet here and you're like, oh, I attacked him, but he's going to do a counterattack, and you run away, you have to remember to turn. And then when you go into first person, even if it's oriented right, you still have to vertically aim down if the enemy's lower. So I don't know how much of that needs to be addressed, like improved. and how much of that is like, no, that's kind of part of it. I'm not entirely sure how I'm feeling about that, but let me show you more of this because this is pretty cool. There's some cool stuff in this. I've become more and more of a fan of this the more I've played this demo. And look at this. This is just, I don't know. Again, it's a demo, so I don't know how prevalent or important this becomes. But I love that, like, in most cinematic camera games, you'd cross into this threshold and you're like, okay, yada. Now, I'll give you a spoiler. There's a monster down there. But if you play it a certain way, you can come in and just go, let me look. Oh, okay, I can prepare. I can heal up or whatever because I know there's this guy down here, right? So let's see. Do I have another weapon? I may not. I don't think I have the other weapon yet. Okay. So let's go down here. But see that? Like I was trying to run forward, and I went the wrong direction because coming in and out of that perspective does take a little acclimation. Okay, so there's a water bottle. Like I want to back. See that? I was trying to back away from it right here. And it takes a second to kind of reorient. So let's see. He's going to turn around. See, I paused him, but let's see. See, he attacked me. So I'm going to run away. Then I have to turn around again and then aim down. It's not a big deal so much as it's just kind of strange. It's a very weird sort of mechanic, basically, that I could totally live with if it, here's what I would say. I would become much more frustrated with this game if they start hiding puzzles in places that I have to do every area with a fine-tooth comb twice, once with the third eye and once without. But so far, like I said, that has not been what this is. All right, so I don't really know what's coming up. Here comes a rat. Here's another really cool thing that you can do. So he sees me, he's coming at me. But if you hit the third eye at the right time, it'll pause. And when they come into the zone of the third eye, and you can use that to your advantage. It's harder with the melee because you got to be real close. The good news, though, is the game does have, at least the demo so far, projectile weapons. So the melee is great, but you also can get, in this case, you can get a handgun. And the handgun allows that tactic I was just showing you to be much more effective. Check this out. We got some monsters in here. I'll wait for them to come into my zone. Now watch this. See that? You get a very brief pause of the enemy when they step into that zone. Right? So you can strategically use that third eye on off with, again, I'm sure maybe there are some melee weapons coming up that have longer reach, but with your little hatchet, you can't do it. And then what's really cool too is there are certain enemies that kind of are like, yeah, fuck you. We're not going to let you do that. Like this guy down here, if you want to use your third eye with this dude, you very quickly realize he like shuts you down. He like does this scream and it's like, yeah, you got to fight this guy, from afar or without the advantage of the weak spot, at least for the moment. Maybe there's a weapon that will let him. And again, he still has damage zones. His head will take more damage, obviously, but it's not going to give you that big 40 points or that big weak spot. Come on, fucker. The one thing I also notice is it's easier with a mouse. Everything in this game is easier with control. But the aiming, though, I hope they do a little bit of... I know there's a little auto-aiming, but I hope they add some more. Because using the mouse to target is a hell of a lot easier. The other thing that's cool is you cannot shoot projectiles when your third eye is on outside of your third eye, right? So this thing is not taking damage because the bullets dissipate. So you have to basically fight things that are far away with your third eye off. And so I'm sure there'll be a number of mechanics that, or enemy designs that really force you to take that into account. Like maybe you can see where the weak point is of the enemy with your third eye on, but he keeps his distance, so you have to kind of remember where it is or something like that. That could be cool. It's good stuff, though. It's really unique combat system. I dig it. Third eye use is also really good for puzzles. We've already looked at kind of using it to get past thorns in the environment, but there's a lot of cooler stuff in this demo. Here's a good example of that. So there's like this thing inside this cage, but I can't get it. because it's metal, I guess. But if I look at the same object using my third eye, now it's wood, and I can. And now I get, I don't know what this thing is, but it's a little collector, little artifact, whatever. So that's kind of cool. I dig that. All right. And this is another really cool puzzle. You come into the bathroom, and again, if you look at her health, it's pretty low. You can use water that you can collect to heal her, but you can also get it from certain sources. Like here's a sink. She's like, yeah, I'm not drinking that nasty water. No fucking way. So she can go third eye, and it's clean. It's back to like a normal bathroom like it was, or semi-normal. And now she can actually drink it when you're in that state. So it's some pretty cool stuff. I love these kind of puzzles. And they mix it up. You have some inventory puzzles mixed with your third eye puzzles as well. Check this one out. So this eye has been put here, and it talks to you, and it says, hey, I'm not letting you in. And whether or not you're in this version or this version, it's still there in a different visual. And if you get close to it with your weapon drawn, it shuts itself, and so you can't hurt it. So what you realize is you can use your projectile, though. And whether it's in this version or this version, I think you can kill it that way. And then it opens the door and lets you get inside. At the end of the demo, you're able to get on the train, and you get the third weapon of the demo, which is a shotgun, which basically is what you see is what you get. It's a shotgun, does more damage, takes longer to reload. You start facing bigger monsters, different puzzles, monsters with a lot more hit points. But again, third eye is real helpful. See, there's his weak point. So you can do a lot more damage now. So I'm going to wait and freeze him right when he starts to attack. So that may be the trick. Like that way you have a second. Oh shit. Yeah, that's the trick. You wait right till they're about to attack, and then you activate the third eye. That's pretty cool. You know, I was talking to somebody on Twitter about this, and they're like, "Oh, it looks janky. It doesn't look good." Let's see if this guy can get through the stuff. He might not be able to. Oh, he can. Okay, fuck it. He's like, "Oh, it looks janky," and I'm like, first off, it's not janky, but it is. You know, it is a low budget game. It's an indie game. Oh shit. See that? And I got hit. Oh, that's great. That's great. You know, it's an indie game. I don't think it's made by a lot of people, but I think there's so much more interesting stuff in this than a lot of other games that it's just, you know, I hope people give stuff like this a chance because, oh shit. Oh, and I died. Okay. All right. Well, I was almost at the end. The end of the demo, you kind of get off the train, and that weird tall woman appears again, or man, or androgynous character, and it pretty much is like, okay, it's cool. It's cool. Here's what I'll tell you. I really like this. Out of a lot of the demos I've played this week, this has been one of my favorites. I was very surprised by this, and if you go back and look at that trailer, it's like, right? I mean, the trailer was fine. And I don't know what the trailer could have done to really get you vibing with it, but there you go.